All right, what's up, guys, and welcome back to the No BS podcast. This is probably our most hype and excited episode to date. Um, Me and Johnny, obviously, and we have a special guest, just quite possibly the strongest man on earth. And that's crazy me saying that because I felt like I was the strongest man on earth.
Yeah, we're gonna
Um,
talk about
but
that. Exactly.
Yeah, we have Colton Is it Engelberg?
Engelbrecht, right?
It's Engelbrecht. Yeah.
Okay, Engelbrecht. How you doing?
Yeah, I'm good on you.
I'm not too bad. What I know this was obviously like a little bit difficult to set up. As Johnny was saying before we started recording, you are quite possibly the most enigmatic person in
Yeah, you're up there,
powerlifting.
bro. I mean, some of the Russians you were with would do it too, but like you were in that class.
Yeah.
We're gonna try and take a little bit of that down, unfortunately for you, and super fortunately for everybody listening. But we've been gone for like a
Yeah,
minute,
thanks.
so sorry guys. We were doing stuff. But we are coming back with hopefully something that you guys are super eager to listen to. Um, Colton, bro. There's so much stuff to talk about, but we honestly want to start just because of how little information is on you. Normally, we'd start with what you just did, like 500 kilo, and talk about all that stuff. We're gonna trail off of that. Who are you, bro? What did you do as a kid? Did you play sports? Like, have you always been a freak? Like, run us through like basic Colton stuff.
Um, I actually didn't play that much sports in school. Um, it was kind of just me being involved with the my other classmates and like playing like normal school games with them, like punchies or arm wrestling or like how many push-ups can you do and how many pull-ups can you do. I
Yo,
was
school in
I was
South
just like
Africa
interested
sounds
in that.
so much cooler. I did not play any of this shit. That's
But
awesome. Okay.
really, this is
Yeah,
my thing.
no, I don't know what punchies is.
Wait, yeah,
You
what
don't
is
know what
PUBG?
punchies is?
Yeah,
What is
what's
that?
punchies?
That's crazy. Yeah, so you punch each other as hard as you can, and whoever gives up first is the loser.
Okay, so these are the childhood games that, okay, this makes sense. This is tracking so far. I
Yeah.
played like maybe wall ball, a little bit of like, like stuff like that, maybe tag. That's what I grew up playing, but punchies and arm wrestling. Okay, that's dope. Were you always like top dog or what?
Yeah, most of the time. Definitely in arm wrestling. Punchies, will come like second place sometimes. Yeah.
There we go. Yeah, I saw you arm wrestling. I saw you gripped up with Kirill.
Yeah. Crazy strong. He's a very
Yeah,
strong guy.
that dude's hand, Jesus Christ. Um, but okay,
Like,
so this leads into powerlifting when? When do you get fascinated and like start lifting weights and how does that trail into you actually turning competitive and stuff like that?
so just going back to like the fact that I didn't do sports, I was actually homeschooled and I lived on like a very secluded like piece of land, like kind of in the mountains, but it's not like I was like a mountain person. I was like on this like wine farm in Cape Town, and I had to be homeschooled from there because there were no like towns around or anything for me to go to school. So I pretty much spent probably like most of the day just chilling in the forest and walking around and
Bro, you
climbing
are
up the mountains and
aggressively
stuff like that.
adding to the whole Enigma thing. Like
Bro,
Yeah.
this
this is
backstory is
perfect, bro. Yeah, this is like superhero shit. This is great.
Yeah.
Sound like Tom Havlin. Um,
bro.
what's it called? Okay,
Yeah.
this is all
Yeah.
tracking so far. So
Um,
walking around in the forest, being super enigmatic and mysterious, and you decide to pick up a barbell around what age? Ish.
yeah, then I started to want to get into training. I think I saw like a few YouTube videos of people training, and then I was like, yeah, I want to try this. And then I started I started this lift club with the guy that was traveling to one of the towns um at like 4 a.m. in the morning. I had to wake up at like 3 in the morning to travel with this guy. And then, yeah, I would go to the gym, just regular gym training. And I didn't know what I was doing at first. I'd probably just train arms and like shoulders and stuff like that. And then, yeah, I'd have to pretty much stay in the town the whole day until he could drive me back home at like 3 p.m. So I pretty much just wandered
How
around the
old were
town, like,
you?
Yeah.
How old were you
or
at
When
the
chilled
was
at the
time?
that?
gym. Yeah, that was when I was like 16.
Okay.
Okay. So
Yeah,
relatively young. So
yeah,
damn though, but you are relatively young. We're like the same age.
yeah.
That's insane. So it's been like what, 8, 9 years you've been training in general, and then you moved over to powerlifting, what, a few years after you started? Just like kind of building a base and doing bodybuilding stuff and
Yeah, so then after I started doing regular gym training, I found out about CrossFit and I went into that from the age of 16 to about 17 and a half, around about there.
no way. How'd you do?
Yeah. I did pretty well. I was 16 and I was mainly good at the lifting part of it. I
I'd
clean
imagine.
and jerked one, yeah.
Right.
I
Yeah.
clean and jerked 140 and I snatched 120 and I was like 16, 17.
And
Yeah.
body weight around the time?
I think I was 87,
Okay, damn. So you were always
87 kgs.
okay. This makes
Yeah.
sense. You're always a
Yeah.
big dude. And then after CrossFit, straight to powerlifting? You were like, I'm good at the lifting stuff. Let me try and gear towards the lifting stuff.
Um, so then I moved from Cape Town to Durban and then I went back into regular training, but because I had more of a foundation with CrossFit, I knew more about strength training and I'd already done lots of research. So I then started training SBD. And there were a bunch of old guys in the gym that I used to train with, and we would all train together, and I would do my SBD and they would do their things, and I would just enjoy the community. And then they would all tell me that I'm super strong and that I need to compete in a powerlifting competition. And I was like, nah, I don't really want to do it. And then eventually I was like, yeah, let me try it out. Maybe I'll be strong enough. And yeah, that's when I did my first powerlifting competition.
Yeah,
I think
understatement.
it was, yeah. And then I think I was just about to turn 18. Yeah.
Okay, sweet. So it's been like 6, 7 years
Yeah.
ish.
In powerlifting.
That
Yeah.
makes sense though. Dude, anybody that has, at least in my experience, anybody that comes into powerlifting with any Oli background, like any Olympic weightlifting background, tends to do really well. Crush from a kinesthetic awareness standpoint, and you had the hypertrophy beforehand, and it makes sense. That's where the overhead press comes from. Because, dude,
Yeah.
I mean, SBD, one thing makes sense. You're a super good power lifter, and then after after a meet, you're just throwing up like 400 pound standing overhead press. I was just like, yo, what is going on right now? Like, this makes no sense. Um, but okay,
Yeah.
makes sense. So you start competing and you were good. You were always kind of strong, but there's a jump I kind of want to talk about here. Where,
Yeah.
in my opinion, you would, in mine and Ron's opinion, you would have already been advanced around 2022. Most people would call it elite. Ron and I would call that 574 dots at nationals uh, advanced. And then you took a jump to a mega elite here. You went 574 to 626 from 2022 to 2023. What happened, bro?
What were my totals for that? It would have been the 10,
Let me see.
the 10, the 1052 to the one to the 1120, I think.
Probably. I'll check real quick. 2022. Yeah, you were at 2116 to 2320. What was that year of
Yeah.
training? Oh, you need that in keys?
So yeah, I took a year of training and I prioritized just like the higher rep ranges and prioritizing technique because I didn't want to like just progress in small amounts. I wanted to really like focus on the things that were going to allow me to get stronger. And I did that for that whole year. So I improved my squat technique, I improved my bench technique, and obviously my sumo technique was needing a lot of improvement. So it was mainly just technique and then working in higher rep ranges that for like a whole year that let me make that big jump.
Yeah, damn, bro, that's incredible. I've never heard somebody
Yeah.
start to focus on technique and getting 200 pounds on their total, going from 21 to 23. That's normally like an 1100 to 1300 type deal. Um, but yeah, bro, I mean, I remember when I found you. I found you relatively low follower count. I was like blasting you out of my story. I was like, dude, like pay attention to this dude. Pay attention. I don't know if you remember way
Yeah.
back. I was like, pay attention
Yeah,
to
I
this. Like
remember.
I'm telling you right now, this dude is gonna absolutely explode. And then I remember I'd send it to Ron, I'd send it to Derek. There was a buddy, Brandon Striegel. I don't know if you knew he might have been slightly before, but he was in the 242 Raw. He was relatively young. Um, and I'd send
Yeah,
them
that's cool.
stuff, and they'd be like, dude, this guy looks super strong. Like he could be super strong. And then you just kind of continued on this, and it makes I mean, it makes sense, but it also makes no sense. Where Ron and I also train relatively linearly, like outside of maybe rerunning a rep range, like a sub-maximal block into a maximal block. And I kind of want to talk about Tombro a little bit here and your guys' training methodology, where it seems to be relatively linear. And for most people, that'll kind of drop off at a certain point in terms of like being able to progress. Once you get to like this level, it's really hard, but kind of seems like running just like the tens to the eights to the sixes, fives, fours, threes, twos, ones, continues to have you level up at already like a ridiculously elite level. Is there anything outside of literally the programming that's helping that go along? You're not gaining a ton of body weight. I mean, the move to 275 and
Yeah.
you hold the Larry wheels, drink water to get to 308. Um, but
Yeah.
is there anything outside of like the basic linear programming that has you on just this continuous like rocket ship?
Um, yeah, possibly. So I like to prioritize like obviously constantly improving technique like throughout SPD. Like that's a very big thing. I don't think there's anyone in the world that has perfect technique, but I think you can always like constantly strive to like a perfect technique on
Yeah,
SPD.
marginal.
So there's, yeah, there's always improvement with that. And then I like to prioritize rep PRs. So I like to hit like massive rep PRs, and I find that more exciting than actually hitting
Me too.
my one rep max PRs. Yeah. So I like to do that, and I like to hit like really massive ones, like if possible. Like I put all my energy into my rep work, and then outside of that, I'd say I like to find ways to be more neurologically efficient and not have unnecessary like energy drains, like either in prep or when I'm in my high rep ranges. I like to figure out ways like mentally or physically or like energy wise that I can just make sure that all my energy is going into my lifting.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
when you are in those high rep ranges, let's say you're doing tens, eights, or like your goal is like I want to squat 800 for seven or something like that, right? Is it that you are supplementing that with like a single on the day or like a top set of three, or is it why in like in this 3 month period I am just doing these high rep ranges at high intensities?
Yeah. So I normally set myself up for like a PR that I really want to hit that I know will translate to my 1 rep max, and then I dedicate the time that's needed to hit that PR.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So you don't have any sort of like singles
No,
and
it's volume, bro. He's pushing volume, which
yeah.
is, I mean, which
Yeah.
we
It's
do.
just volume.
Yeah, it's literally the best thing ever. It's just uh yeah, dude, that is awesome. And it's nice to hear when you go into a prep, right? Because this is something that Ron and I have been super adamant about over the years. And I guess only over the last year and a half has this become like a very, I don't even want to say controversial take, but there are a lot of hats in the ring on the opinions. You lock down for preps. Like your entire training, you are locked in. When you talk about the energy leaks and stuff, I assume you're talking about everything outside of the gym, and making
Yeah.
the environment as conducive for recovery. Yeah.
Yeah. Pretty much.
Yeah. Okay. Sweet. I'd assume so. Because Ron and I are both in this camp where we're like, I don't know how people like I don't understand. People do
Yeah.
everything outside of the gym and maybe lock in for like 4 or 5 weeks, argue that it's definitely the best way to get stronger because you can't lock in for that long and you're gonna and I it's hard to listen to.
Yeah, I
What
think that's silly.
Me too. Agree. You're wasting time.
Yeah.
what does locking in look like for you, Colton? Because for me and Johnny, like our focus will be obviously nutrition, sleep, steps, obviously getting your training in at like a specific time. Johnny and I have this thing where like if it's like a big week 4, even like a week 3, we will like refuse to do anything during the day leading up to it.
Yeah, bro. I'm
Uh,
not taking up the trash. Like it's not happening.
yeah.
I'm
So like
done.
Yeah.
What does that look like?
what are the things that you personally focus on in like a prep?
Um, it would obviously be the nutrition and the sleep, but that's more of like a secondary thing. For me, it would be just my mental space. Like, am I just thinking about the weights and like the technique that I need to hit to make the weights efficient? Make sure that I'm not like getting too excited before training so I don't like idle my nervous system
Yep.
type of thing. And then just making sure that all the energy that I can possibly put into training, I'm putting it into training, and there's nothing else mentally that's draining my energy. Yeah.
This is
Yeah.
so nice to hear, bro. I'm
It
so
is, yeah.
glad. Yeah, like we talked to so few people that like actually put this stuff into practice. And this makes sense. This is what happens when you do. I'm not the exact, I
Yeah.
would the smallest example of what happens, but these two guys is exactly what happens when you super duper lock in. When it comes to Tom, bro, right, you guys have like, was it you first? Then Theo and Lily Riley and everybody. Because at this point, you guys, I know Danny came in super late, but at this point, you guys have a pretty ridiculous team that I don't know how big it is. But his gym down there looks ridiculous. And it looks like he kind of champions powerlifting from a coaching standpoint and a gym standpoint. Um, down,
Yeah.
like, how is your relationship with Tom?
Yeah. I have a good relationship with him. It started off as just a coach, and then he's kind of like my friend now. And yeah, I enjoy talking to him. Like he's one of the few people that I would call my friend just because he would maybe be able to understand me in other ways that not like most people wouldn't.
Yeah, how long have you guys
Because he
been
kind of
together?
thinks the same way. Yeah. I think it's been like 2 years, 2.5 years.
Oh, shorter than I
Yeah.
thought. Okay, so how much of this
Yeah.
rocket ship of progress do you attribute to him and kind of the way that you guys do things? Because that's I thought you guys were working together for a lot longer.
Yeah. So I would con I would contribute quite a bit to it because he really helped with my technique development, especially. And then when you get a coach, you just generally have a better training structure.
Of course.
But
Yeah.
he's very good. He's very good with technique work, and ironing out everything that needs to happen to allow you to progress your technique. Yeah.
Yeah, it seems like literally everybody that's gone with him just like reaches another level very soon. Um, which is sweet. It says a lot about him, and he's somebody that I've wanted to reach out to and just kind of shoot the shit with like a lot.
Yeah.
Honestly, the dude seems to have like relatively basic tools when it comes to programming, but they continuously progress for like everybody he's with, which is super, super sweet.
Yeah.
Glad you guys are friends. Ron
It's,
started out
it's
as just my coach.
yeah, it's very simple. Like his training methods are very simple, like the program structure. But his main like advertising point and his main value as a coach is he has a very like keen eye to pick up the flaws in your technique and what you need to change to be better.
Yeah, that's incredible. It's very insightful. Thank you.
Yeah.
When it comes to the kind of just the state of powerlifting down by you, how like present is this? Because we talk about it in the States all the time. I mean, it's never been bigger, but it's also still small. It's like super niche at the end of the day, and it's growing and it's getting significantly more attention. But I would say in the United States is definitely where we have like the highest uh, whatever frequency of competition and the most athletes and stuff, and it still feels relatively niche. How do you view the state of powerlifting internationally in South Africa? And I guess you have Preez, but like who else do you train with or how present is powerlifting?
In South Africa, it's like I don't know how to say it, but it's there, but it's also not really there. Like in South Africa, no one really knows what powerlifting is. Like it's not really that popular here. Um, Besides Nicholas, there's no one else that has 1,000 kg total in South Africa.
Yeah, wow. How sweet is that? That's another
He's not in
super
South Africa.
enigmatic. Dude, you're just boys with all the enigmas.
Yeah,
How is Preez in person? He seems like the coolest dude ever. But if I
yeah,
had
he's very, very cool.
very cool.
He's a
Yeah,
good guy.
if there's
Yeah,
one dude that I would want to have in like my entire country that would be powerlifting, Preez would not be like a bad pick. I'd be like, yeah, that's pretty
yeah,
sweet. Me and this dude, that works. But dude, you have Preez. I saw that you were with Theo and Bruce Wang. I fucking love that kid. How are those two?
yeah. Bruce Wang's very funny. Like,
Funniest dude ever.
I didn't even know that he had that internet personality before I met him, and like people told me, oh, he's got this massive following, and I was like, oh, that's cool. And then when I got back to South Africa, I obviously followed him, and I saw like his posts and stuff that he created, and I was like, oh, this guy's actually really funny. Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say, bro, I don't know if anybody's met that dude without knowing him beforehand. I would love to meet him and have a normal conversation and then pull up my Instagram and be like, yo, this guy's
Yeah.
absolutely hilarious. Yeah, I'll never forget. He shot me and Nabil a text. He's like, "Yo, I've watched you guys forever." I was like, "No way, Bruce Wang, bro. I love you." Um, but
And then Theo's pretty chilled, like yeah, just a very chilled guy and very strong as well. Yeah.
he's a
I enjoyed talking to
monster.
him a bit as well.
Yeah, he's coming back right now. Yeah, from his I forgot what
Yeah.
tour. I forgot, but he's coming back. Um, now
I think it
something.
was something in his shoulder.
Oh yeah, benching. It was a pack
Yeah.
or something like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, I think so.
So something that Ron and I guess actually Ron and I have a slight difference of, I guess, point of view on. But I very much so share your side of things. More purely would be you are purely numbers driven. I saw that little clip. Somebody asked you what anybody that you looked up to in the sport or anything like that. And well, I guess before numbers, is there anybody that maybe not looked up to, but is there anybody that you watched growing up that when you got into the sport that you were like, oh, this guy's cool? Like watching their
Yeah, I watched, I could probably say I only watched Larry Wheels.
Dude.
Yeah, he was like the most he was like the most popular and like everyone knew him and he's like kind of the face of powerlifting. Well, he was the face of powerlifting back then. So I enjoyed watching his stuff and I was like, oh, this guy is crazy. He's actually pretty strong.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
yeah.
freaky as hell, bro. At the time, that was absolutely insane. Okay, but
Yeah.
Larry, that's sweet. And that explains the mindset
Yeah.
and stuff like that, just going after everything.
Yeah.
When it comes to being numbers driven, how do you view, like, what's your take on kind of the more, I guess, abs point of view and people that are really out to beat people? I only said Ron and I share a slight difference of opinion because there are people that Ron's like, I need to put this guy down, and this guy's getting a little too big in the head, and whatever. I got to jump these guys. But I myself am very beat myself and kind of go for the numbers thing. Don't care if I come dead last. I just need to go hit my numbers. Where does that come from? I guess because that's all limit stuff for you. You're all just limits and numbers.
Yeah. I just think that it doesn't really matter who sets the bar. The bar is going to be the bar, and like it doesn't really matter whose name is attached to it. You just have to surpass the bar. You know,
Yeah,
like
makes sense. So are
it
you?
could be like your average like Joe has hit this number. You don't have to care about Joe. You can just beat the number.
Yeah,
Yeah,
100%. I'm of the exact same.
that's my mindset.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I appreciate the mindset because when it comes to abs specifically, right, which you were supposed to compete earlier this year, didn't get the visa, all of that stuff, they are like straight up head to head. It will be different on our platform. I've had other powerlifters DM me and in conversations be like, "Oh, dude, but when he hits abs, like." This is going to super duper shake up. And I've been very much so of the opinion that you're just going to go do exactly what you've been doing on a separate platform. It's something that Derek and I talk about all the time. I don't know if you've seen Derek's stories and stuff like that. He goes pretty hard on it, where he's like, I don't know what you
yeah,
guys are talking about. It's a bar and it's weights. Like, I'm going to go lift it the exact same way I do here.
yeah,
That dude being here is not going to
yeah.
affect me at all. Are you excited to hit that platform at some point, and kind of just shut that down? Because in my opinion, you're going to shut that down super hardcore. I was talking to Abs a little bit, and I know what you guys have going on when it comes to next year. Nothing that I'm comfortable sharing without their permission. Um, but
Yeah.
it should be an imminent shutdown.
I don't know. I don't really take it that seriously. Like, I think people are going to, I don't know. They might not. I think people would eventually realize that it doesn't really work the way abs are trying to make it work. Like, you don't really compete against other guys in powerlifting. Like, you, you can watch their training videos during like their training season, and you can be like, oh, he's hitting that number. Obviously, I have to hit this number to be better than him. Well, that's just a very simplified way of putting it. But if you also kind of like just try to surpass the limits and not really try to surpass the person, then you're going to be at the limits. And if that's the limit, then there's no one else is going to be there. So you'll be the strongest, if
Yeah,
that
it
makes
makes
sense.
sense. So when it comes to
Yeah.
like the IPF, right, which would probably be the most competition-based thing, you often see guys take their total down to compete with other guys. I guess would be the right way to
Yeah.
say that, right? They go put up a massive gym total, whatever it is, or go put up their best total at a separate meet, and then they hop into the IPF. Let's say it's Worlds, let's say it's Sheffield, and the goal is that number one. Most people don't go for it all, you know? We're like, ooh, this guy hit this. I have maybe 390 in the tank on deads. This guy only hit 365. I only need 367 and a half. And that incentivizes competition. You know what I mean, Ron? 100%.
Yeah.
Um,
So I think I was definitely like like I was actually more so on like you guys' side with this. But yesterday, like handling my wife. I actually like experienced that, right? And I think like I agree with Colton where like if you just like blow past the limits and you focus on like, just breaking past what anybody can do and what anybody has done, then you put yourself in a space where like you don't even need to think about it, So, and that's why like I was of that opinion because that's where like I
You are,
am,
yeah.
yeah, like in 120 tested, right? Um, but yesterday, like in having like close competition, so like she was gonna squat like the plan was somewhere like 190 to 195, right? And we ended up taking 187.5, even though like it was easy, like for like, like a RP9 or whatever, just because it's like, why would we risk failing and like risk the lead, you know? And then same thing on bench is like she had how much was it? She had something and we ended up going 2.5 less because it's like again, why would we risk the lead? And then same thing on dead. So I could see like the IPF's perspective of like competition lowers totals because you err on the side of safety
Mhm.
versus just like expressing peak strength. But at the same time, I could also understand the perspective of like, well, if I'm that much stronger than everyone and I come to this competition, it's not going to matter because my second attempt is gonna be like, you know what I mean? So yeah, I could see both perspectives to be honest.
Yeah, I guess I'm the only one that can speak on
Yeah.
that. I am not in a place where if I go balls to the wall, I am going to win any of these. If John's there, it's just not going to. Not if John's there. If John's there, if Derek's there, if Colton's there, if there's a bunch of guys that if I put up my absolute best day, I am not going to win this meet. Um, and maybe that's silly of me to hold this opinion because I mean it's great what the IPF's doing. It's growing the sport, and I love it. And there's a lot of people that would argue that that is the sport, right? Is winning and winning this and winning that. But to me, I think it's really just because of where I started and kind of why I started. It takes away from the purity of the sport in a way. Like I chase numbers, I chase a total, and that's what powerlifting's about for me. Do you think it muddies the purity of it a little bit, Colton, or no?
Um, I don't think it should make a difference. I think if you naturally strive to hit the highest limits of human potential, either in like if you're in a weight class, like obviously if you're a small guy and you're in a certain weight class, you still have a set amount of human potential for your body frame.
Mhm.
Like, if that makes sense, yeah. I think if every guy that competes strives to reach their highest potential, then you kind of you're kind of going to win the money by consequence.
Yeah,
And
I'm with you.
like if you want to talk about risks, like I don't know, everything in life is risky if you think about it. Like you could either like try to attempt to hit a number that you've been chasing in competition and you can get it, or you can lose and then you can go back to training and be like, oh, why did I lose? What do I need to work on? Let me fix it. And then you hit it next time. And then you keep repeating that cycle and you're going to be stronger and better off and more impressive than you were if you had just not taken the risks. Because I think defeat and like losing or failing in competition should be a motivating factor for people to get stronger. And if they don't take the risks and they just keep hitting like subpar RP9 like lifts, then they're never really gonna feel like they can do better,
Yeah, agreed.
if that makes sense.
Yeah, that's a
Yeah,
good point.
it makes complete sense. And I'm with you there. When it comes to, I mean, you're talking a lot about limits and genetic potential and the bar. When it comes to the IPF, tested powerlifting in general, um, are there any guys that you would see that if you're like, yo, if this guy hopped on some extra supplementation, would be able to rise to anywhere near pushing you in any way? Are there a few dudes that you're like, hey, if this dude took this, maybe he could hang?
Yeah. I don't know. I haven't really thought about it actually. Yeah.
Yeah, low key. I only thought about it because you two on this call, and I was like, I might have the one dude that, like, if he hops on some stuff, it'd be fun to at least see. Because as of right now, I mean, it's
Yeah.
you and John, bro, is there. And I actually, all right, let's touch John.
Wait, just now, I think so because he hasn't thought about it, right? Like, I think the inverse question might be easier to answer. If you, let's say you were a tested athlete in the IPF Colton, do you think you
So
would
hard.
be, do you think you would be the best male tested powerlifter?
It's very hard to say. Like sometimes I wish I stayed natural just because I don't like taking supplements. Like I don't enjoy it, but I know that it's a necessary thing. I try to keep it to the bare minimum as well, but I know it's a necessary thing to reach the highest limits because it's very difficult to push your body to a point naturally. This is just my opinion, obviously, but I think it's very hard to push your body to a point naturally where you can make the progress that you're seeking to make in order to actually reach your highest potential and also avoid injuries at the
Well, for
same
sure,
time.
potential is all
Because,
relative to circumstances, right? It's like if you're on gear, you're going to have a significantly higher potential than if you're.
yeah,
Yeah. So
yeah, but it's
that's actually,
still,
go ahead, you go ahead.
yeah, but it's still also, I feel like it is the natural potential, but you just unnaturally unleashing it, if that makes
Yeah,
sense.
tapped into it.
Because, yeah,
Yeah, same body.
it's still
Right.
like, it's still what your body can do. It's not like you like have an exoskeleton on or something like that.
Oh, bro,
You
I
just,
know. It's not the internet. The internet it ruins everything.
yeah,
The amount of people they think you're on gear, they think you're on like Captain America super soldier serum, you know what I mean? And give you this
yeah,
ridiculous benefit, think you turn into a completely different guy. But it is cool to hear
yeah,
that you take the bare minimum approach, yeah?
yeah. I don't enjoy it. I don't enjoy having to rely on it that much. I just take it purely for recovery so I don't get injured and hurt myself or limit my ability to recover from the training that I need to do in order to hit the numbers that I know would be close to the limits, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it's all just about looking at training objectively. This is what I need to do to get to this number, and this is what I need to do to make sure that I can make it there. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a question I was
But
going
in
to ask.
an ideal, like in an ideal world, if I had to recreate powerlifting, I wish steroids didn't exist. Like that would be much
Great.
better because then it's all fair. Like then everyone is natural and there's no like discrimination or like there's no difference in powerlifting. Like everyone's on the same level and everyone can strive for the highest limits with what they have. Because like a person in the IPF can say that I know Rondel is like super strong. I'm not taking it away from him, but the problem is that the IPF numbers are always gonna be smaller than the untested numbers purely for that reason. So I'd rather be untested and have the highest numbers than be tested and say that I'm the strongest natural person instead of just saying I'm the strongest overall.
Yeah, little asterisk.
No.
Yeah,
Yeah, no, 100%. I'm very
yeah,
much with, I mean, like I said, I'm a numbers driven person. I always have been. I grew up watching whatever, Yury, Dan, Pete, Rubik, all those dudes. And they were all just about kind of headhunting these numbers and going balls to the wall. So I'm very much so with you. And I also wish, I mean, I wish we all didn't use different bars. And I wish that there wasn't really an untested side. At the end of the day, if it wasn't, this sport would be in a much better spot. But if those advantages are there to take advantage of, you're going to take advantage of them the same way that I am going to take advantage of them to go put up those numbers. It's
yeah,
a mindset, right?
yeah. And it's kind of too late to change it. Like the
No,
world's
it's
just
done.
gonna have to
God.
accept that Yeah, they're just gonna have to accept that there's always going to be an untested side and there's always going to be a tested side, because there's always going to be people that are going to see the tested limits and be like, ah, they all tested, they're natural. But if I had to take steroids, which is available and it's a thing, I'm pretty sure that I could hit higher numbers than that, and that's going to be a driving factor for a lot of people.
Yeah, you know what? I think the only way you develop this purity of a mindset is having the childhood you grew up with. I think a lot of the incentivization of competition grows up and looking at all these other dudes and being like, "Oh my God, like this seems to be the limit because of all of these guys," and you attach personalities to them and you're like, "Ooh, this guy's more jacked than me. How am I supposed to whatever?" And if you just grow up looking at numbers and you're just like, "I have no idea who these people are, but I'm gonna go pick this stuff up," you just
Yeah,
absolutely develop this like stoic nothing can stop me kind of mindset. It's actually sick. Um, I admire
yeah,
it.
and I think that's better for human progress in general in terms of strength sports. Yeah,
Agreed. I've been
So
seeing other people as competition like a distraction.
yeah,
I know you said that like your primary reason for like taking stuff is like recovery and just like injury avoidance, right? And
yeah,
that's like something that like not necessarily that like I struggle with, but like if I'm not on point with everything, right? Like supplementation, protein, everything like that, like I like my training beats me up and I don't train anywhere near as heavy as you on a consistent like my best deadlift is 937 and
Nobody
I
does run.
yeah, I did that once and it took me a full like 6 weeks to feel like myself again. Um, so like
yeah.
question is like one, have you experienced like any significant injuries in your time powerlifting? And like outside of obviously, gear and whatever, like what do you do to um just like allow your body to sustain what were you doing? Because some of those like squat sets, bro, like my knees hurt like watching them is like unreal.
Not
So
even real. Yeah, I swear to
yeah.
God.
Yeah. My recovery methods would probably be all technique based. You only get injured if you have a mechanical problem. Like you can, like you can break down. Like if you get injured, most of the time it's because you had a mechanical breakdown and you overloaded a certain spot that wasn't supposed to be overloaded. Um, so yeah, I try to prioritize like really good technique when I get to the heavier rep ranges, because I know if I don't, obviously a lot of people probably try to do that, but yeah, that's one of the things. Like I know if I don't prioritize good technique, then there's a high chance of getting injured.
Yeah.
And then I also do a lot of like stretching and prehab before training. I'll make sure that my body is able to move mechanically the way it's supposed to. And then obviously the supplements help with recovery, and peptides and stuff like that also help with recovery.
Pep peptides like BPC,
Yeah,
TB, that kind of stuff.
yeah, yeah,
Sweet. Yeah, you know what? When it comes to technique, this is very refreshing to hear when it comes to the vast majority of your answers to these questions surrounding recovery and surrounding routes to progression are all in just technical refinement. Um,
yeah,
when it comes to the squat, because the bench, it's super clear, it's the soft touch and it's the wider base when it comes to the leg drive. And the deadlift is just pretty straight up. I mean, it's pretty brolic. You are not wide out. You're not a highly leveraged puller like I am, right? You're not the highest torso angle or anything like that. It's very brute. Um, but when it comes to the squat, what is your kind of camp of thought, right? Because I have guys like Joe Sullivan, and well, not Derek. Actually, Derek just says the squat is a sit down and stand up as fast as you can type thing. But
yeah.
are you like ribs up, brace, or are you a like ribs down, stay super stacked? Because low key, I mean, it just looks like you're back. Like dude, your squat's ridiculous. Like if there's one lift that I look at consistently and I'm just like, this man's ability to maintain this position is absolutely heinous when it comes to just a raw back and brace standpoint. Are you a proud chest, chin up guy? Or are you like a super brace, hunkered down, ribs down, super stacked?
Um, I like to try find like a neutral point. So I like my upper back to be tight, obviously, and then I don't like to flare my ribs up or tuck them excessively in. I like my pelvis to be pretty neutral to my ribs, and then keep it there as much as I can. I still lose it when I hit the hole, like pretty badly sometimes, and
Me too.
I still have a lot to do on my technique with squats. I'd say my technique on deadlifts is by far better than the other two, but I'm constantly trying to improve both of them.
Yeah, as you came up
Um,
to 275 from 242, did you notice? Because you're not at a point where you're with body weight, and obviously you're just not getting fat. Um, but as you gain body weight, something that I was worried about with you as you were going from 242 to fill out the 275 was like, ooh, is the pole gonna go anywhere? Because these leverages are changing. You're more encouraged to dump, right? And I think there was a little technical spill maybe what a month and a half ago, something like that, where you were like, my deadlift's a little off, I'm dumping a little bit. What did you do to correct that? And clearly it hasn't stopped you at all. As you've gained body weight, this has just gone from like 9 straight to 500 kilo for a 2x1.
yeah, the main issue I had with deadlifts a month ago was that I couldn't get my upper back tight and I couldn't maintain my shoulders. Um, it was mainly for two reasons. I couldn't wedge my hips in properly because I struggled a little bit with um, my adductor tightness, um, mainly due to internal rotation. Like I'm busy working on my internal rotation, and it's getting better. Uh, just minor things that didn't let me express my technique properly, and then my timing of my deadlift was off. Like it happens sometimes if I don't focus on technique for a certain period, I kind of forget some aspects of the technique and then I have to relearn them. So my timing was very off. I would wait too long at the bottom when I pulled the slack, and then some of the slack would go out, and then I would pull after that, which would pull me forward. Just like a combination of those three things, probably. Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. But it's very nice to see that as you filled out, it hasn't changed your leverages to the point where you're having to seriously adjust stuff. And I don't think you
Yeah.
ever could get to that point. I don't think you'd let yourself get to that point. But you
Yeah.
have probably
Well,
one.
my leverages need to fill out quite a bit more. Like I should be sitting at like 130 kgs body weight to be comfortably filled out. Um,
Okay,
How
so
tall are you?
you're going up.
yeah, I'm 6'2", 6'2".
Damn, bro. I didn't know you were
Bro, what?
2. That's like 7 feet tall in powerlifting. Are you kidding me? Dude,
Yeah,
6'2" in the benches. That's insane. Yeah, Ron's like, yo, what, bro? Okay, that's insane. Yeah, 130. Jesus. Okay, so you're not even filled out, bro. You're not,
yeah.
but this is nothing. Clearly, you don't need to fill out the class to do anything crazy. But you think 130 is probably final-ish form and refine from there. Like that's probably where you're at. You're gonna be your best point.
No, I'd like to be 140, 150 one day.
Bro.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
do what? Total 3K, bro? I swear to God, what are you talking about? That's insane, dude. 130
Yeah,
Colton or 150 Colton. This is like a 700-pound bencher. 1,400 pounds.
but yeah, but I'm actually hoping to move to strongman at the end of next year.
Really?
Yeah,
Holy shit. Okay.
This is breaking news.
Yeah, yo, what?
Bro.
That's yo, damn, bro. Okay. So probably 130-ish, 140-ish cap out in powerlifting and then push that aggressive body weight when it comes into strongman. I mean, you have the height. It's shorter, but Eddie was 6'3", I think, or something like that. So for the
Yeah,
freaks, which you are the freak of freaks, you don't need to be that, whatever, 6'9", 6'10", Brian Hathor kind of thing,
yeah.
to get that done. Where did that?
Mitchell Hooper's around 6'2", 6'3" as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's all changed, right? Like I use strongman is something I followed relatively aggressively, and I always personally preferred the meets, I mean, or shows when maybe like 2019, 2020, back at the Arnold when it was really I guess max power output driven, like a little bit more so
Yeah,
geared towards the Bryans and Half Thors. That like Brian Eddie Half Thor tail end of Zadrunas. Era there with like
yeah,
Super Yoke and the Tote, Bale Tote, I forgot. Whatever it's called was more so, but now it's all geared towards fast, right? Like, I mean, you're still picking up
yeah. It's
ridiculously heavy
speed.
stuff. It's speed
Yeah,
stuff, which I think has helped
yeah,
gear it towards like that moving to Martins and then now obviously benefits Hooper. And I honestly have no idea what benefits you. You might be max power. Like, I have no idea, dude. It's just maybe
yeah.
the height, but you can hang with any of these dudes when it comes to max power output, and in my opinion, surpass them for sure. If you put on this body weight, it's not even close.
What's your best
Yeah,
conventional
well,
cool time?
I haven't tested it for a while, but I'm currently in a conventional phase of training, and I'm hoping to end on 800 for a set of 10, a few sets of 10.
You mean a few
Yeah,
sets of 10, bro?
Bro.
yeah,
Oh, dude. What are you? All right. That's the craziest thing I've ever heard.
I thought he was gonna say like 7 or 8.
Me too. I didn't know what he was gonna say, but I mean I'm dying for 804 for five. Like a 3 by 10 at 800 pounds is absolutely ridiculous. And it makes sense, especially with your squat following suit. If you were
yeah,
just a deadlift guy, that's one thing. I would definitely take a significantly bigger hit when it comes to conventional. I'd probably peak to have, low eights, something like that. But 800 for 10 is not far off from where you are sumo, bro. Like you probably have a K plus if you get that done. And when it comes to a conventional phase of training, you are solely training conventional, correct? This isn't an additional day.
yeah. It'll be for the next like 2 blocks, so 10 weeks ish.
Oh,
Yeah,
not a lot of time at all. So it's not even like you're adapting to this stimulus and then getting really good at it and putting on strength. This is genuinely you just like getting slightly acclimated to conventional and then expressing the strength you already have.
yeah, pretty much. And then I'm doing it as an accessory as well to strengthen my torso and my posterior chain, obviously, to translate to squats and obviously sumo deadlifts as well, to maintain my torso positioning a lot better.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean it makes a ton of
Yeah,
sense. Um, Now I guess when it comes to a slight shift of gears here, um, you've been in, and it makes sense, especially after talking to you about your mindset and when it comes to numbers and really just numbers, big numbers. Uh, why you've been in wraps, right? And it makes sense from, especially an international standpoint. Wraps are huge outside of the US. They have been. But at this point, you've taken the all time from Dan. You went up to 308 and uh, took it from Andrew House in the 308.
yeah.
There's nothing really left for you to do, bro. Is it sleeves time?
Yeah, I'm doing a sleeved competition in November, and I'm planning to total probably between 1140 and 1160 in sleeves.
And that's okay.
kgs.
That's over Jesus. Yeah.
Well, 1152 is
Yeah, it would
Jesus.
be.
1152. Um,
Yeah,
so when it comes to the squat, okay, because listen, for a while there, I mean, it doesn't matter. It's all still just as ridiculously impressive. But when you throw up bare knees, when you use that phraseology in your captions, and I think that you are squatting 800 pounds in a pair of pants for sets of six, set like whatever it is, I was like, what is happening right now? What do you think your drop off is from a wrap squat? Because your tech doesn't change much. Like you see guys like Chad Penson, right, where super wide out in the stance when they get into the wraps and they can really, really take advantage of them and really tension into those wraps. And then when they come into raw, it's a slightly narrower stance, but you seem to have literally the exact same, like you don't really modify much between your
yeah.
bare knee tech and your wrapped. What do you think that drop off is? What do you think you have in sleeves?
Um, I'd say around 420. So that's like 910
937-ish?
pounds, around about there. 420. Yeah, actually, yeah. Wait, yeah. It's like
I think it's
930. Yeah, around about there.
something like that.
Yeah.
Dude, I cannot wait to see this. And at that meet, are you looking to cross the 600 barrier on bench? I've been waiting for that to happen. I mean, bro, you have it.
Yeah.
You have it. Like,
Yeah, I'm aiming for a 420, 272, and a 480. Yeah.
and 480. Okay, so why did okay, that's interesting. Only because when it comes to the wraps, right, I often find that yes, you can squat more, but something that people don't talk about where it's like people, oh, it's so much easier to get a bigger total in wraps. Like, yes, you put on the squat, but you at the end of the day are loading something more super physiological than you would be in sleeves when it comes to the squat. And that can be significantly more taxing on the upper back, on the erectors, but you still go for the 500 kilo when you're in wraps. Why take the deadlift down?
Mainly because it's actually a conservative competition before I compete in March in sleeves again.
Yes, that's what I think.
Because I'm
That's what I think I was
because
talking.
I'm yeah, I'm planning to break the 125 all-time world record and the 140 all-time world record in November, and then the 140, like the 125 in November, and then the 140 in March. Yeah,
Okay, that makes sense. And that's when you go
yeah,
full balls to the wall down to
yeah,
500.
yeah.
Okay. And before we get to the 500 and everything that you just did, which is what we would normally start with, but it's what we're going to kind of wrap up with here. Um, John, I know you don't look at competition and there's no numbers and or there's no people, and it really is just competition. But before you decided to do what you've been doing, there was the most massive gap of all time between John and literally anybody. John pulls up on his worst day, it doesn't matter. He could compete 4 or 5 times a year. He's the only guy that at the time could make a living off of solely the financial incentives regarding competition in powerlifting. And then you came in. And now we're looking at these dots, and you're the only guy. You two, you joined that like mile high club. Oh, that's the wrong way to put that. You joined the you joined that way Cloud9 club, let's say, right? You guys are just in a separate zone. So people put
Yeah.
you big time next to each other and all this like, oh, John Colton, like when this happens kind of thing. Is there any like inkling of competitive drive that kicks in when it comes to that? Or are you like, dude, I'm just gonna go and do what I do and I'll go beat this dude? How do you see your head to head with John going?
Um, I don't know. I haven't actually thought about it that much, but
Dude, this is awesome. This is great. Yep. Okay. I guess your best effort
but
now is what? 677?
I think it's it's like 689 or something.
689. Okay,
Yeah,
that's a decent
yeah,
amount. I was gonna say going to the sleeves, I
yeah,
don't know how much that drops off, but you have room there. Yeah,
yeah.
bro. What do you think with John?
Well, I'm planning to. So in March next year, I'm planning to bulk up to 130 and then drop down to 125 and then total like around 1240 in sleeves. So
Right.
I'm pretty sure that's going to give me like 700 dots. So I'm not really thinking about dots that much. Yeah.
Numbers, straight numbers.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, dude, John, on the other hand, I do know is like probably the most competitive guy I've ever met. He's up there with the most competitive guys I've ever met in my life. And he is
Yeah.
very much so. I think John is numbers driven now because kind of like what we were talking about before, where once you're past everybody, there's just like, what is there? There is no competition, especially when there's that fat of a gap. But I do think when you hop in here, and I haven't talked to him about this at all. I don't want to put words in his mouth, but knowing him and kind of his personality, his competitive drive has definitely aggressively kicked in. And this will actually probably be the coolest. It's definitely the coolest thing we have on the untested side of powerlifting is your guys' head to head. We're in a pretty horrible state, to be honest, like very nomadic, very no like head fed. None of the big meets are really big meets at the moment. And kind of the one
Yeah.
thing that everybody's waiting to see is the Clash of the Titans for not the abs meet, but you two going head to head.
Yeah.
Is kind of what's going down here. And I think John, the one time he had a chance to dot 700 was at the Surge to New Levels meet, Power Surge this year. And his strategy was to cut down like aggressively. I think he weighed in at like 86 or something like that. I forgot. He went in significantly
Yeah.
light. And his
Yeah.
like top numbers were like, damn, you have that 700. But outside of that, 700 has not really been in the cards. Watching you bulk up like crazy and him go down, that's going to be honestly one of the cooler things I think that's ever happened in powerlifting. So yeah, you agree, right? That's a super cool aspect of it, right?
Yeah. I'm keen.
Sweet.
I'm also like I'm also like very competitive. Like when I was coming up and chasing all the all-time world records, especially breaking Dan's all-time world record. I was like obviously competing with the limits, like with that limit, and yeah, nothing was gonna stop me from hitting that limit.
Clearly
Yeah.
not. Yeah, bro. I mean, you blast right past it. And I have no doubt, especially when you talked about like everybody in the IPF, right? Because that's an interesting thing that's happened here over the last couple of years. The guys in the IPF, you're saying the guys on gear will always have higher totals, and that's kind of what it is. Jesus kind of shook that up a little bit. Ron also shook that up a little bit when it comes to like, damn, this is like right there. And Jesus taking the biggest sleeve total. You're looking to correct
Yeah.
that. Colton's like, absolutely not, bro. I'm going in sleeves and I'm gonna set this right. This makes no sense because this stuff has become relatively comparable if you look at it from like an average weight class total thing. Uh,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
there are a lot of people that will be
But
happy about that.
yeah, I would say that I respect Jesus's mindset more than I do any other powerlifter because
Yeah,
he's also chasing
the limit.
like the highest human potential, I feel. Yeah. He doesn't really care about kind of other people.
Yeah, no, it makes sense. That kind of, yeah, especially if we want to talk 2 years ago, 3 years ago, before he had that first Sheffield performance, and he was just talking about I'm chasing Dan, and I'm chasing the all time, and a lot of people doubting that, and just being like, dude, what are you talking about? It's Dan Bell. Dan Bell is numero uno. Dan Bell has
Yeah.
put the stuff up. He's been the dude for however long, and then he came in and did it. And anybody doubting you over the past few years has definitely been aggressively shut up. And when it comes to you coming back to sleeves and kind of correcting this stuff, you doing that at actually, never mind. You will not be much lighter. I cannot imagine you. I don't think you understand what's gonna happen when you're 150 kilos body weight. Like that's not even a real thing, dude. I'm trying to like conceptualize that. That's absolutely insane. You'd be what, 330? Like 331 pounds ish?
Yeah, it'll probably take me around like 3 years to get there.
Yeah, no, makes sense. What do you
Yeah,
do on the way up there to mitigate fat loss? I mean, I guess just time, but at the same time, when you're talking about like filling this stuff out and you're talking about numbers like 300 plus, and that's really when people have a really hard time not getting fat in any way to like make this happen. Like, what are your, I guess, bulking strategies? Because even me right now, I'm going up to 242, and my deadlift is obviously
yeah.
my card here when it comes to my total and kind of carrying my total. And I've screwed it up in the past where I kind of overbloat a little bit and get a little bit too fat. And I'm like, damn, all right, my squat and bench feel really good, but my deadlift's kind of starting to, lower. My leverages are kind of getting screwed. Um, do you have
Yeah.
any strategies when it comes to gaining weight to like make this super efficient? Asking for a friend?
I don't know. It depends. I think it depends on what you eat and
Of course.
if you like dirty bulking or lean bulking type of
Yeah,
thing.
what's your diet mainly comprised of? For me, the carbs are like white rice, sweet
So
potato.
I'll just tell you what I ate today, which is pretty much what I eat every day. So
Cool.
it's normally like eggs, like 4 eggs and a 2 liter milk in the morning.
A what? What's the
Yeah,
second thing? Sorry.
Of milk.
2 liter milk.
In the morning, pre-training. Mine's always
Yeah,
after training.
yeah, yeah.
Interesting. Okay, you and Theo,
And
milkman.
then and then for lunch it'll probably be like like I would say like 300 to 400 grams of potato. Um
Okay, regular
or
potato.
like or yeah, or a cup of uncooked rice. Um
Okay.
yeah, and then I'll start drinking my second 2 liter milk in the afternoon as well. I won't drink a lot of it because
I love this.
yeah,
Let's
yeah.
go.
I won't drink a lot of it because it's like too many fats before training. And then after training, I'll eat probably like another carb meal, probably another cup of rice or the same amount of potato that I mentioned for lunch. Then with like 400 grams of some meat, like some type of meat. It's normally fish. It's normally fish, yeah.
Dude, you are blowing my mind right now. This is awesome. I might
So cool.
have to
Like some people in powerlifting, right? Like they have this like thing where it's like they always say like training is not everything, and like I just get my training done, and like I don't really pay attention to like powerlifting. Would you say like your days are like usually just like centered around training and powerlifting and just thinking about training and preparing for it and recovering from it? Like, what do you do outside of
Yeah,
all?
definitely.
Okay, so
Yeah,
that's
I would
good.
say that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say that majority of my time is and like energy is focused on powerlifting. Like, there's not much else that I focus on. Like, the only thing that I do outside of powerlifting is I go on like a few coffee dates or like lunch dates or dinner dates with my fiance.
Okay.
Dude,
Yeah,
one track mind.
yeah,
It's incredible. That's I mean, Ron and I are very similar. Like we're not saying like, oh my God, like I beyond understand it. It's
Yeah.
the times when any obligations in life take either of us in away from that kind of state. Like I'm starting this company, I'm learning how to kind of balance all of this stuff for the first time in my life because I've been fortunate enough to kind of gear everything towards that mindset and be able to set my life up that way. And I
yeah,
know Ron was the exact same way, and now he has more stuff going on than he ever did. So we understand it, but it's very nice to hear from the guy. Like, hey, I would hate to hop on here and you'd be like, "Oh, dude, I just live my life. I'm just hanging out. And, I just crush it." Like, damn, bro.
Yeah.
But it's nice to know that the pinnacle is Very similar to the way that I try to set up my life surrounding training and Rondel's as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Yeah, I
then
think that's the best way. If you want to make the most progress, it has to be that way.
it's just objective, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. That nutrition is insane though, dude. I might have to switch some stuff up. That's more milk than I'm drinking. I mean, you see my stories of drinking milk every day. But that's
Yeah.
more milk than I'm drinking. I don't have solely carb meals. I don't think Ron does either. Well, Ron does two big meals. Do you still do two big meals, Ron?
I do still do two big meals, yeah.
It's just two fat meals, one huge meal in the morning, train, and then one huge meal at night. Um, but I might have to
Okay.
go. What'd you say?
Yeah, that's interesting. That's an
Yeah, right?
interesting.
That's what I said. I was
Yeah.
like, no way.
Yeah.
And then I was like, damn, maybe this is the way to go. Then
Wait,
I like
what
you.
time of day do you train, Colton?
Normally at 3 p.m.
Okay, I train a little bit earlier. Like I train like half 12, so usually is like right after
Yeah.
that big meal. So yeah.
Oh,
No,
man.
that's cool.
Yeah, I
Makes
eat
sense.
4 or 5 times a day. Maybe I'm doing this wrong. I gotta pick up fish and I gotta figure this
But
out. That's insane.
I'm
Um,
going to increase the quantities of my food slowly. I'm just getting back into it after getting back into routine. Like I said, I'm only on week 2 of my training log, so probably around week 4 I'll start eating more
you
food a little.
titrate. You titrate your calories throughout a block.
Um, Not really. It's more so just that I know I need to bulk and I need to eat more food to bulk, so I'm going to do it slowly to adjust better.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sweet. The very quickly here, Ron is actually still at NAPF Nats and he's been handling. He's got to go handle these dudes, and we're gonna wrap this up, me and you. Um,
Okay.
Ron, thank you very much for taking the time out of your NAPF stuff. And I'll call you later and we'll talk about everything and get this done. And there's really only one big topic left that I really want to talk about. And
Yeah.
it's everything that you just did. But thank you, Ron. Good luck to all your dudes.
Yeah. Thanks.
Um, yeah, dude. He was so excited for this. He couldn't believe what's it called? That all of his stuff. Normally he's just at home, like me and you, like kind of this mindset
Yeah.
that we all three of us share when it comes to just being super not a lot going on outside of training and stuff. Um, the weeks that we try to get this done, he's just absolutely slammed with stuff. But
Yeah. He's been handling at 3 different competitions.
dude, he's all
Um,
over the place. Like you see his stories, you're just like, dude, who are all these kids? Like, I don't understand. He's all over the place. But
yeah.
his wife did just crush and like absolutely destroyed the competition. So it's all worthwhile for him. But I'm glad that he could make it work. Um,
Yeah. That's good.
yeah, bro, when it comes to this, everything you just did, right? The 500 keys, Russia, Yury rapping you. It was I don't have a problem saying it. It might be the biggest statement meet in powerlifting ever, or pretty close, especially with the 500 key thing, right? You have like Danny, right, who has been flirting with the 500 kilo thing since the 1074, and it's really just kind of all the factors lining up for him. I think he was going to go for it this past weekend. Tom flew out to Alabama, and he ended up being in a humid Alabama gym, which Alabama is super, super hot in the summer. So
Yeah.
he hold on to anything. Like it was super tough to watch it happen. But kind of this 500 thing, since Eddie did it, has been this like mythical barrier of like, oh my God, like maybe one guy like Hathor will be, 450 pound, 460 pound dude, will be able to just on one day get it done under perfect conditions, and set himself up for that. And there's really only been two hats in the ring when it comes to that this entire time. Anybody that's done it as a
Yeah.
powerlifter, Jamal did it with straps in the gym, and that's not in a meet, and that's not after a massive squat. Christoph did it in straps in also a super enigmatic dark Polish gym. I have no idea. Uh, and
Yeah.
he came out and did it casually as hell, bro. Like, I don't understand. What was the squat? I know it in keys. Well, I know it in pounds. What was it in kilo? Keys?
420.
Dude, so you put up
Yeah,
420. It's not a crazy. I mean, you have significantly more, but it's by no means a sandbagged squat, bro. Like that's like, you know what I mean? We're talking
yeah,
low nines. The
yeah,
bench was not sandbagged either. And you come out and it wasn't even a struggle, dude. Like when it comes to the grip, it just popped out of your hands, but it doesn't even, it's not a technical thing. And it's something that just kind of happened. And as soon as it was done, I was like, oh my God, no way he just locked that out. And then you came out in straps and did it again. Bro, what
yeah.
is this? Like, what is that? I don't understand. Like, do you understand how much you have in the tank? Like, it's not even real. It looked like you could have done it again, like a 3x1, 4x1. Like, I don't understand.
Yeah, I probably could have hit another 500 that day. Um,
Dude,
it's not really because I think I'm just very efficient at my deadlift currently. Yeah, I didn't even rip my thumbs. I ripped my one of my calluses like under my ring finger on my right hand.
oh, I saw it in
Yeah,
the video. I think Kirill
yeah.
took a video of your
And
hand.
then the funny thing is that if I had just fouled it, I would have locked out the 500 because I deadlifted the day after the day that I deadlifted the 500 again, and then I did a 450 kg deadlift.
What?
Yeah.
What are you talking about? Okay, the for people that don't, there's a lot of people, right, that don't really understand when it comes to these weights, even the ones that I'm at, right, low nines, that kind of thing, where people
Yeah.
think calluses, like big calluses, are super beneficial, right? But the reason
Yeah.
that they might totally screw you up for anybody that doesn't file down, like my hands don't, I don't have crazy calluses because I do keep them filed, right? If you build like a ton of dead skin on top of baby
Yeah.
skin, that digs right into the bar, and any bar movement in the hand, that dead skin's coming with it, and so is the baby skin it's
Yeah.
attached to. Um,
Yeah.
so that's actually I don't know a lot of people that pay attention to that stuff. It's almost like a little niche key when you get to like super heavy stuff. But you take care of your hands like that, yeah?
I tried to. I actually fouled my hands the night before, and I thought I fouled my hand calluses enough, but I didn't. Because the day after I did the 500, I deadlifted, and my third attempt was actually 490, and I hook gripped it, and I got it to like 5 centimeters away from lockout. My grip wasn't going anywhere. I just blacked out and I stumbled off the platform.
Oh,
Yeah,
no way.
yeah,
Yeah, dude. I For something that seems to be overall, bro, pretty much everything you're doing. Um, Everybody builds a lot of I guess status around these limits, right? These like 500, like 2600, or where, whatever the total was that you took from Dan, and kind of Jesus's sleeve total. And you approach these things with such a casual mindset. I don't want to say casual in action, right? You're obviously as serious as possible about going after all of these things, but they just seem to be genuinely another number to you. And I think that part of that comes from not idolizing anybody, really. You're just like, oh, you're just a dude picking this stuff up. But it almost is like a massive spit in the face of these numbers when you're just like, oh, I'll just go throw in straps and go do it again. Um, I'm genuinely terrified for what you're gonna do, bro. Like
yeah.
I really don't understand.
And I was also worried that I wasn't going to be able to use those straps properly because I used figure eights and I hadn't used
I thought
the
about it
roll-on.
when I saw you strapping up. I was
Yeah,
like, oh shit, way more time down there.
yeah.
Yeah, and figure, what do you think you have? Low key, peaked, figure eights, full. I mean, no suit. Screw any of that stuff, dude. I mean, are you gonna? I guess you're going strongman. You'll hitch. You'll
Yeah,
do everything. But when it comes
yeah.
to powerlifting
Um,
with straps, what do you think you have?
I can't really say. I don't really know, but I know that I'm going to most likely. I'm aiming to deadlift 520 in March
With
without
the sleeves
straps.
meet?
Yeah, yeah,
That's part of the puzzle piece for the 1240.
yeah.
What are the other ones? 420.
Uh,
No, not 420. 420 is in November.
yeah, 420 squats in November. I'll aim for a 440 squats in March, and then a 280 bench press.
Dude, this is all so in the cards. Like I love most of the time when people say stuff like this or go for a huge
Yeah,
reach meet or whatever it is, it's like like okay, like all right, bro, like I hope so. But this is all beyond reasonable, and it's weird to say it's beyond reasonable when you're talking about a deadlift like 520. But the way 500 is moving, you file those calluses down, and that's really what it is at the end of the day, right? Like you had a drop at
yeah,
like those big dogs that popped out of your hands. Also,
yeah.
500.
That was my thumb, but my technique on deadlifts was very inefficient with my wedge at that stage. I figured out something with my wedge that if I am more like horizontal with my wedge and I don't have any like
When you say horizontal, you're talking
no,
about your
I mean vertical. I mean vertical with my wedge.
more
Like I
like
have
this.
more like vertical movements as I grab the bar, like on the bar, and there's no like horizontal movement on the bar, then I can hold my thumbs a lot better. I don't know if I'm explaining this very well, but
Dude, whether you are to them, to the listeners or not, I know exactly what you're talking about. When I went over to the Kabuki,
yeah,
exposed a lot of my technical inefficiency when it came to the
yeah,
Texas, where I would really just kind of come in almost behind the load, to be honest,
yeah,
instead of being super on top of it, right? Where if you stay super on top of it,
yeah,
I preach big toe pressure, is literally everything in the pull. And my pull on the Kabuki at this point, when I do eventually have to go back to a Texas, is going to be completely screwed. Because this bar, I can't stand the bar. And at this point, I stopped wedging because I could not get a super consistent hip kick angle with the amount of slack that comes out every extra 50
yeah,
pounds. So I'm just like,
yeah,
you know what? I'm just gonna go straight up. I'm gonna feel big toe pressure. I'm gonna grab this thing,
yeah,
make sure that I gain all my tension on the way down, like a top down method. I take my air up
yeah,
top, hook, and then I just come straight up.
yeah,
Which on every other bar, I don't know. But for that exact reason, staying super vertical, what Colton's talking about, if this is your hips and these are your shoulders, where I used to wedge big time like this, right? Would keep my hips almost on the same plane horizontally and just kind of come into it. You end up kind of over idealizing the position, shoulders behind the bar, weight a little bit on your heels, you rock forward, and then that's exactly what you have to correct at lockout. When you see people, the vast majority of people, go to pull, lose a little bit of hip height, the weight flies up to maybe 2, 3 inches from lock, and then you end up kind of having to correct and you have this like grindy
yeah,
lock. When you
yeah,
stay in those big toes and you keep those hips high, that's efficient. That's what you're talking about, right? Like a much higher hip kick
yeah,
angle, staying on those toes. Uh,
yeah.
it's
It's also,
interesting. It helps the grip.
yeah, I would say it helps with the grip because there's no like excessive like horizontal movement
Mhm.
with your like bar path. Like your hands just stay in like a very vertical line, so your thumbs don't experience any excessive like movement, if that makes
Yeah.
sense.
Any movement in the hand, that's all I talk about when it comes to hook. It's not strength, it's not anything. It's literally just eliminating bar movement in the hand that
Yeah,
the hook perfect. But that's a very I've never heard that spoken about in the context of maintaining integrity of a hook. I always hear that when it comes to just efficiency and hip height of the deadlift period. But when you're talking about 500 kilos and you're talking about numbers of 1,000 plus, 1,100 plus, um, that is very interesting that that's something that you've kind of geared towards. And I'm glad
yeah,
that that's already what I gear my entire deadlift towards because that's something that you're one of the few guys I would absolutely change things about my poll listening to whatever the fuck you're doing because it's not even real. But that is super
yeah,
nice. Now, when it comes to kind of this Russia thing, we've talked about a lot of enigmas here. But when you go to Russia and number one, dude, how is Kirill? Because that dude, I've looked up to that dude forever. Just being like a super cool, really strong dude who seems to be involved in a lot more than powerlifting when it comes to Russia. Like he seems to be somebody who's kind of championed by Russia overall.
yeah.
How was being at one of his events and hospitality and just kind of hanging out with the dude?
Yeah, he's very cool. I like him. Yeah, he's kind of not so focused on powerlifting anymore. I was kind of hoping that he was going to be this like super driven guy and very competitive and just
Yeah, I mean,
really like
I see
strength
his power slap and stuff. He's got all this stuff going on.
and like strength orientated, but he's very much retired from strength training and he's focused on arm wrestling and that type of stuff.
Oh, arm.
But this, yeah,
I knew
he's
he arm
hoping to
wrestled. I didn't know he
compete.
was. Oh, is he
Yeah,
hopping in like legitimately, like to the circuit,
yeah, he's been training for quite a while. Yeah,
like a Levon thing? He
and
wants to go like that kind of that route.
yeah, he's. I think he wants to. It just depends if he's gonna. Like he says, he has to be strategic about it, which makes sense. He has to pick the right opponents first, and he can't just jump in straight to the
The top.
heavy guys because, yeah, I
Yeah,
think that's just how it works with everything.
yeah, I would, you know what, I've experienced that a few times, where I've met some heroes of mine when it comes to like the guys that I grew up looking up to, in the sport. And like Kevin Oak, for example, who I don't want to say was disappointing. He's the man, super cool dude.
Yeah,
But when I met him at Hybrid Miami, I walked up to him and started talking about the powerlifting at all, and he was so out of it. He's just like, dude, I do real estate now. Like I don't, I'm like, wow, that's so hard to hear. But at least
yeah,
Kirill is, you know what I mean? I'm like, oh, dude, no, like you were one of
yeah.
my guys, like no way.
They
But
just don't care about powerlifting anymore.
yeah, it's hard to imagine, right? For anybody with your mindset that this is like everything to you, and I'm very similar. It's hard to imagine that turning off at a certain point while you're still physically capable. And I think a lot of
Yeah,
people stick around much past the time that that turns off for them. And I think that's almost what leads to kind of the not being locked in mindset, like, oh, this is better for me to go do other things. And I don't know. I think you, as well as myself, share a 0 or 100 mindset when it comes to like, hey, if I'm
yeah,
going to do this, I'm doing it. And when I'm out, I'll be out and I'll be doing 100 at something else. Which I think is the only reason why you're as strong as you are. I mean, maybe not only reason, but I would say it's the driving factor for sure, is this is everything to you.
yeah, yeah. I'd say so.
Yeah. And dude, when you were there, what's it called? Yury. Yury wrapping your knees. You don't look up to anybody. It's not an idol thing. But was that pretty cool, dude? That clip to me, I mean, I grew up watching Yuri big time, and there were guys that I idolized as numbers driven as I am. These were kind of my superheroes that got into the sport. And I got sent that clip by I don't know how many people, like genuinely maybe 50, 60 people being like, dude, oh
Yeah,
my God, this is like the coolest thing ever. Because Yuri, you want to talk about peak Enigma? Like nobody ever sees the dude outside of when he's breaking a world record on the platform and he's just kind of doing his thing. For him to
yeah,
pop out and kind of pay homage to you, and rap, how
yeah.
sweet is that?
I didn't even think about it like that. I was just hoping that he was going to rap me well.
Yeah. Yeah, dude, this is all so on brand. This is perfect. It's all
Yeah,
super consistent. But for everybody in the
but
sport, for anybody that knows, that was super cool, dude. Like that
yeah,
little clip is going to be used a lot.
but
But
he's a really good guy. Like he's very experienced with powerlifting. He
God,
knows how to he
else.
knows how to read like how to read competitions and he knows like what works and what doesn't work. Like I was gonna tape my callus on day two because I thought it was going to rip further or limit me from deadlifting. And then he was like, no, don't do it. And I was like, okay, I'm just gonna test it with my last warm up and the tape moved completely. So yeah,
Dude,
I
Yuri,
took it off.
if there's one dude that I would
Yeah,
listen to, like over myself in 2 seconds, just be like, oh, nope, all right, I'm not gonna do that. Yuri would definitely be the guy. He's absolutely, I mean, dude, he's insane. So that was super cool for at least me and other big fans of the sport for a long time. Seeing like the one dude that kind of has always seemed to almost share your mindset. There's nothing on Yury's mindset on the internet outside of in Russian and like random squat tutorials and stuff like that. But he was kind of always been the guy to just do his thing. Come in, if somebody takes a record, he go like Jamal took his whatever 972 record or something like that, 971, and he entered a meet like the next week, pulled it on his opener and just left like peak, just like does not care about anybody. And to see him pop
Yeah.
out was super cool, dude. Now I guess kind of last thing here is Hathor. So I guess I can probably guess the answer to this question just because of how consistent you've been on the topic. But when it comes to watching Hathor with 505, and in my opinion, that was not a good lift at all. I hope he does it at Giants
Mm.
Live, but that was soft as hell, in my opinion. Um,
Yeah, it's kind of weird that it was though, because he didn't look like he was struggling to hold the bar up when he was
No,
up there.
bro, that's the whole
Yeah.
point. Like Thor, I have heroes in strength sports, and Thor is one of them for sure. He is so capable. It's not even a question. But I'm watching that, and anybody who knows what they're talking about is watching it and going, "Oh, that wasn't it." Like, absolutely not. And he did it at the Eisenhart, which no shade towards the Eisenhart, but is not the most official competition around. Versus like Eddie's. And he's signed up for something in 6 weeks, I think, 5.5 weeks at Giants Live to go. And I think he said 510, I think, is what he's going to
Yeah.
do. He said he had to change his technique because there was a hole in the platform. So he had to shift kind of the way that he was rolling his bar around. But in my opinion, I'm done saying that. It's not my opinion. It was objectively a crazy soft deadlift. And he needs to go put it up. When you go watch that, and I've had a bunch of people come to me and be like, dude, this isn't even close to half as impressive as what you just did. How do you see kind of the strongman strapped, hitched, suited deadlift when you're doing this stuff raw with your bare hands? It's
Um,
infinitely more impressive to me. And that seems to be the general consensus with anybody I talk to.
I'd say they're very close to being like equally impressive. I'd say mine is slightly less impressive.
Interesting. Okay. But because of
Yeah,
the sumo?
because of the sumo, and then hook grip is just a technique. Like it's not a strength thing.
Well, of
So
course not. But straps is not a technique
yeah,
or strengthening. You're attached to the bar. You know what I mean? Like there's no dropping,
yeah, that's true.
no
That is
dropping the
true.
bar. You know what I mean? Um,
I'd
it's
say it's more impressive in like picking up the weights in general, and the fact that I don't have a super wide sumo. Uh, but yeah, I don't really know how to compare the two because they're
there's such
just
a high
like
degree of difference.
different. Yeah, but if you wanted to look at impressiveness, then I'd say mine would be more impressive just because I'm much lighter and I'm holding on to the weights raw. Yeah.
Yeah, bro, that's the whole thing. It's like your body weight is just not there. It'd be very different if you guys were similar body weights. It would be very different if Thor did anything before he pulled it. You squat 900 plus pounds and bench close to 600 pounds. 4 hours into a meet, you're pulling 500 and then doing it again. It's like, to me, it's just not even in the same league. And again, if you pulled like me, right? Like I have a very upright, like I have a very sumo-y sumo. The same with Danny. I'd have a harder time comparing it to something like conventional, but dude, you are super posterior chain dominant, extremely efficient. Um, it's
Yeah.
like, I don't know. It seems to be pretty, like I don't know, as apples to oranges as it is, they're pretty close. And you start
Like
putting,
I would say it is close,
right?
but yeah. But I really I'm going to aim to pull 500 plus obviously when I go to strongman in the traditional way of pulling it, like straps and suit and stuff like that.
Yeah. Oh, bro, you'll do
Yeah.
it. Especially if you go in next year, you have 520 coming into that meet. And so you're planning, if that's March-ish, is that probably going to be your last meet? Maybe one more and then strongman?
Yeah, I have one more powerlifting competition. It'll be one more in wraps, and then I'll probably aim to hit my 500, 300, 500. Obviously, it's going to be more on
Oof.
deadlifts, but yeah,
Dude,
yeah,
500, 300, 500.
yeah, that's the plan.
You know
And the
what
only
I'm
thing that'll
at,
stop me
bro?
from doing that is if I like die before then. So
Shut the fuck up. Don't say shit like that. Stop it right now. Here. Why am I adding that? It's 1300. Here. Colton, bro. That's 2866.
yeah, yeah. But it'll probably be more than that because I'm most
The
likely
goal will be
gonna
over 500.
yeah, I really want to attempt a 550 hook grip on deadlifts, yeah.
Dude,
Before I retire from sumo, like, and then give strongman style a shot.
1230.
Yeah,
1220. Dude. Okay. I have one favor to ask of you. And you don't have to actually stick to it, but you're not gonna be 150 by that meet. Whenever
no,
you're capable of totaling a 3,000 pound total in wraps, just like hop back in for one meet. That is 2866 at 500, 300, 500. If you go 500, 300, 550, you're at like 2970, bro. The uh
yeah,
the, the whole Mr. 3000 thing, uh like 3,000 pound total in multiply was like the biggest deal ever. I honestly didn't give half a shit about it. But if you go ahead and do that in wraps, dude, like you're talking about an entirely different bar. You're already setting this to an entirely different bar. This next meet in November will be a different bar. This meet in March will be just a complete elevation of the sport, like a completely new limit. And if you're talking about 3,000 pounds or anything close, you're talking about something that I'm very comfortable saying will not be broken for like decades, Colton. And this is at a point where, yes, there's a ton of new talent and there's a ton of people breaking, records, and records are meant to be broken. But that is like a generational gap. That is like a nice evolution of man to happen before another one of you comes around and starts flirting with any of these numbers. And it's
yeah.
funny because I would have said something similar about John, not as crazy, clearly as the numbers we're talking here. But I was like, I don't know who's going to beat John, 2, 3 years ago, and you come in and absolutely destroy this. I would put $1 billion on saying that there is nobody that is going to come out of the woodworks and touch anything close to that, bro. That is beyond a legacy. You've already left a hell of a
Yeah.
legacy if you were to stop right now, but you can't. With what you're about to do, I have no idea what's about to happen. You will be undoubtedly the strongest man in the world, period.
Well, I'd have to win World's Strongest Man after that, then I'll be happy with being called the World's Strongest Man.
I mean, that's nice and that's a title. And, I enjoy the idea of that, but I am comfortable saying absolutely not. Bro, right now, the world's strongest man, Mitchell Hooper, any of those dudes are already making videos about you. Like, yo, this is probably the strongest guy in the world. Like, I don't understand. If you go ahead and do this stuff, cool. Go win World's Strongest Man and have the official title. That'll be dope. But it'll be pretty damn objective, bro. Like, that's not a real thing. You'd be holding all-time world records in,
Yeah.
I think, every lift, outside of the bench, but it doesn't matter. Um, Dude, holy
Well,
shit.
I'd have to see how my squat progression goes and how well I can dial in my technique with the added weight gain as well. But ideally, I'd like to aim for 510, but I know I can definitely hit 500
Yeah,
because then I'd have the all-time squat record as well.
you 100% have it. Dude, right now,
Yeah,
you're not even close to the body weight you're talking about. And normally, when it comes to like, oh, when I gain weight, I need to make sure that I have this technical refinement. It's for the pull. When it comes to the squat and the bench, it's like it helps so much. You know what I mean? Any of that stomach compression against the femurs, and yes, it's an adjustment. But at the end of the day, you maybe slightly widen out your stance to maintain the same torso angle on the squat.
Yeah.
And there, bro, all right. These are literally mythical numbers to me and everybody listening. I don't care who's listening. It could be Dan, it could be Jesus, doesn't matter. These are easily the most exciting predictions that have ever happened in powerlifting. And I'd be very comfortable saying nobody has a reason to doubt you in doing any of this stuff. And weirdly, none of them are reaches. The 500 you're doing right now, you can bet, I don't care if you've done it or not. You can bench 600 pounds right now at like 270-ish pounds, 275 pounds. You start talking about gaining 30, 40 pounds of body weight. That's right there.
Yeah.
You're already, what, 80 pounds off of 500 kilo-ish? You're like 35, 40 kilos off?
Yeah, like 30, 40. If I had to get the all-time world record, it would be 40, but just to hit the 500 barrier, it's 30. Yeah.
Yeah, dude, what are we talking? All right. Colton, dude, this has been literally the coolest thing to listen to of all time. I hope that the listeners feel the exact same way. I cannot wait to watch you go do this. You've already been absolutely tearing up the sport. And this is an entire different level of tearing up the sport. And if you do this stuff, this is like a tier that we have not seen, where John has set this tier that we did not see. And if you start talking about 500, 300, 500, and you start talking about getting close to a 3,000 pound total, we're in a different league. And you're in a different league. So I'm beyond excited to watch you two go head to head. I watch all of these predictions come to fruition. And in my opinion, you have the perfect mindset for this stuff. And it shows, right? In all of your results. So, I mean, bro, I don't have anything more for you here. If
Yeah.
you're good,
Yeah.
close this out. And I couldn't
Yeah,
appreciate
sounds good.
that more. Bro, thank you for giving us
Yeah,
the
thanks
insight.
for having me.
Bro, are you kidding me?
It was
This
a
is the coolest
good
thing ever.
podcast.
It's also been, I mean, bro, we've been going back and forth for what, 2, 3 years now at this point.
Yeah.
We've been due for a conversation. So,
Yeah.
bro, I appreciate you. I know all of our listeners appreciate you. And maybe after one of these next meets, after one of these goals happen, or your next ridiculous feat, we can hop back on and see where you're at.
Yeah, sounds good.
Ah,
But
dude,
thanks a lot.
incredible.